श्री अच्युतानंद सांबत जी।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, through you I want to have a discussion on this climate change on behalf of Biju Janata Dal. I want to flag the following issues on this climate change. Climate change is real. It is happening now as I speak. It is no more a talk of the past that climate change will occur if actions are not mindful. In fact, the pandemic has shown it. The spread of the virus has triggered an unprecedented worldwide response composed of rigorous social distancing, bans, ambitious economic packages, and programs for vaccination, and for a while has eclipsed all other crises, including the climate change. But climate change cannot be put in the back burner. Now it is a moment for the mobilization against the climate crisis. We saw examples of healing of nature during lockdown, which, though very short-lived, saw a rebound. We all know Delhi's AQI improved during lockdown. Even the health of the Ganga river has seen significant improvement during the lockdown. I don't say that we have to go back to lockdown, but we have to be mindful. But if the world waits for climate change to trigger an impact similar to COVID-19, it will be too late. Given the threat of climate change on human society and the economy, action against climate change should already be underway. Climate change will increasingly have the dramatic effects on poverty, inequality, as well as human and ecosystem well-being. The impacts will furthermore affect disadvantaged and vulnerable populations through food insecurity, higher food prices, income losses, lost livelihood opportunities, adverse health impacts, and also population displacement. So, fighting this climate change requires a collaborative approach between all spheres of society. It has to be top down at macro level and awareness at micro level. In our villages, among the tribals and women, we see a lot of sustainable practices, so our micro level handling will not be a problem. If it is to redress the inequalities linked to climate change, its response must also see significant support from high-income countries towards the rest of the world because they have the resources. It must also heavily redirect resources towards local sustainable activities, including education, health, sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, and the circular management of resources. A just transition to a sustainable model of development would be beneficial from a socio-economic perspective. It would create a large amount of local employment, reduce exposure to volatile, expensive, and largely important fossil fuels, bring innovation, and generate vast savings from improvements in human and ecosystem health. In addition, the solutions to decarbonize are largely available and in most cases cost effective also. We should also learn from the indigenous people con- constituting about 5% of the world population. Indigenous peoples are vital stewards of the environment. Traditional indigenous territories encompass 22% of the world land surface, but 80% of the planet's biodiversity. A third of global forests, crucial for curbing gas emissions, are primarily managed by indigenous peoples, families, stakeholders, local communities. Indigenous foods are also particularly nutritious, climate resilient, and well adapted to their environment, making them a good source of nutrients in climate change areas. Their wage of life and their livelihoods can teach us a lot about preserving natural resources, growing food in sustainable ways, and living in harmony with nature. Mobilizing the expertise that originates from this heritage and this historic legacy is important for addressing the challenges facing climate change today and also in the future. Here are six of the many ways in which indigenous peoples are helping the world combat the climate change. Their traditional agricultural practices are resilient to climate change. They conserve and restore forest and natural resources. Indigenous foods expand and diversify diets. Indigenous foods are resilient to climate change. Indigenous territories hold 80% of the world's biodiversity, and also indigenous people lifestyle are locally adapted and respectful of natural resources. And also India is doing, and India is also much ahead. The pressure to speed up mitigation and adoption is at all time high. India is doing well under the leadership of, definitely under the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, in achieving its mitigation commitments of reducing emission intensity and enhancing renewable capacity. India is targeting 450 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030, and it has launched mega solar and green hydrogen missions. To strengthen adoption and resilience, India can do the following things, madam. It can be more prepared for climate change with high quality meteorological data, with improved yearly warning system and forecasting. We can tackle the crisis better. Second, for sustainable production system, it is necessary to develop well-functioning markets for environmentally friendly products and disseminates them for the desired behavioral change. Third, it is important to encourage private sector participation for investment in adoption technology and for designing and implementing innovative climate services and solutions in areas such as agriculture, health, infrastructure, insurance, and risk management. Similarly, fourth, we need to protect mangrove groves and forest to address climate-related risks by blending traditional knowledge with scientific evidence and encourage local and non-state actors to actively participate. Similarly, fifth, major social protection schemes must be climate-proofed. We have an opportunity to create resilient infrastructure assets, diversify the economy, and enhance the adaptive capacity of rural household. Lastly, for continuous monitoring and evaluation, effective feedback mechanisms must be developed for mid-course correction, periodic fine tuning of state action plan on climate change is crucial to systematically understand micro level sensitivity, plan resource allocation, and design response to serve at different levels of intensity of the climate hazards. Lastly, the time for tackling billions is over. The 1.5-degree report tells us that we have till 2028 to turn things around. We have to do better than what we are doing now. But that is not impossible. The solutions are in fact there. We need to focus on adoption and innovations. The finance is available. It is not difficult to find the finance. It is about creating a narrative of hope and positivity and creating that compact of partners who really want to do something meaningful and are not just in it for a fast buck. Otherwise, in some years, the planet as we know it won't exist. Some people have woken up to this reality, some people are waking up, and as sooner they do it, better. It will be difficult, but there is hope. The COVID-19 crisis is proof a global response is possible, but in the case of climate change, a global coordinated response larger than the sum of its parts is required. Thank you, ma'am.